right, you guys, we are in northern Minnesota, and I had to throw my sweatshirt on. I think we're at about 46 degrees Fahrenheit today, so it is a little bit cool. But I picked this guy to come to for inspiration as to what to do on finishing my bathhouse, because he's a heck of a carpenter and he's a heck of a homesteader. And we've got a short walk through the woods here. We're gonna go through these woods and I'll show you a little bit of his homestead as we pass it, and then we'll go up to the cabin and we'll see if we can catch him working. Check this out. We are back at the cabin site, and the first thing that I walk up on is he has his enclosed beds here for his strawberries. You know, you can tell just by the craftsmanship that he put into, you know, his garden that the quality of work is there, and that's why I've chose this cabin to come visit. Yeah, I can see him inside. Hey, old man, you got a visitor. How's it going, sir?
Paul.
Good morning. This is my buddy Wiley. He is in northern Minnesota, and we've been friends for a few years now.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we'll go see if you'll give us a little bit of a tour of your cabin today.
Sure. Did you get a chance to look around outside?
A little bit. I didn't want to do too much of a spoiler showing people what you all had.
Oh, okay.
How you been? It's good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. Been a while again.
It has. You guys, I'm going to turn this camera around to catch the beauty of what's going on in here. The thing that amazes me, and I think if you don't mind, I'm going to interview you a little bit.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
On what's going on. The main floor, he's finishing the drywall work right now, but right away when I enter your cabin, the main thing that that grabs my eye as I walk in is the beauty of what you got going on here for a ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
Can we start there? Maybe you tell us a little bit about the type of wood that you used.
Sure.
And what kind of maybe drove your choice to go with this type of wood.
Anyhow, we'd have to step back
Okay.
a little bit further, and I'm a big Terry Redlin fan, and I always remember a couple paintings that were similar to this cabin with the dormers, the big front porch, and so that was the whole idea behind it, was that painting. And then how I come across with the ash was I didn't want to drywall everything, but at the same time you don't want too much wood. And between the combination of the ash and the drywall, I think it's going to be nice and bright in here with the windows. And then these beams that are up above our heads have a little bit of a special meaning. If anyone watches my channel, they came from some oak trees that a buddy of mine cut down before we built his the man cave on one of my videos. He also donated a bunch of slabs, so after I get this wall taken care of, we'll put some oak floating shelves up on there.
Second thing that caught my eye right away, and this is kind of a soft spot for me because I remember having older relatives that that use this on a regular basis, and I think this is possibly the coolest thing I've ever seen in an off-grid cabin. But I see that you brought a little bit of history back into the cabin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's the stove. What can you tell us about the stove?
It's a 1923 Hanaco. I picked this up in southwestern Minnesota for about $600 one year. And the brother-in-law and myself drove down and we picked it up, and we hooked it up last winter when it got kind of chilly in here before, you know, the 14 feet of snow that we had.
Sure.
And heated the place pretty good before all the insulation was in and the ceiling was in. So.
And I remember even a video when you first brought it in where you broke it in by
baking bread
in there. Yeah.
That was incredible. Now I grew up with one of these also.
Yep.
My mom was a fanatic about the old style cooking and stuff, and
excellent.
And she did most of our meals for I'd say about 10 years.
I can't I can't tell you the atmosphere that adds to this
Well,
cabin.
yeah.
I can't wait until this is all done and I can see this all working and come back and show my viewers of what this cabin has.
Right now it's a little bit a mess. Right now it's broke apart a little bit because it was too hard to get ladders over the top of it and stuff when we were doing the ceiling. But it heated the place up real nice. But it's not going to be what I heat the house with.
No.
Because it's only got about a 2 or 3 hour burn time on it. It's not one of the real efficient ones. It's a 1923.
Excellent. Now this is the next thing that I wanted to ask you about, because for the last 2.5 years, I've been heating with a wood burning stove.
Yep.
And the reality is, if you have a cabin, like I noticed your bedroom's up top.
Yep.
For me, my kids' bedrooms are in the 2 lofts up top. The reality is, with a wood burning stove, no matter how much I circulate the air with fans, it gets really warm up top.
Yeah.
And nights, I have to tell you, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to stoke the wood burning stove, there's nights that I just don't want to do that anymore. And I've been considering going with either an in-wall furnace like what you have here, or possibly now there's a couple different manufacturers that even have ventless heaters.
I chose to vent it in the wall because obviously this is 16 by 24. Not a real lot of space, but I have 4 inches sticking outside the building around the wall, so that's pretty low profile,
This barely takes up any space.
And another point to hit, I guess, on this would be that it also requires no electricity.
Perfect.
It's gravity fed heat. It is hooked up to electricity just for the fan, but you don't need electricity.
You don't have to run the fan.
Nope. And that's the reasoning why it's underneath the loft instead of out in the open.
Yeah.
So that the heat has to slowly make its way.
That's
Otherwise, upstairs would probably be 20 degrees warmer than downstairs.
That's smart thinking. And one thing that kind of warms me is on those cold winter days, how cool would it be to step out of bed, put your feet on a floor that's warm?
Yeah, because that was part of the reason why I intentionally did not insulate
the floor.
Because it's off grid doesn't mean it has to look like that tar paper shack.
Yeah.
I wanted something nice. I mean, this is my retirement. This is my, once I'm done, I'm done.
The sky's the limit.
Well, it is. I mean, and I'm still young enough. I'm old enough to want to be retired, but I'm young enough yet to. I am younger than some people.
Which brings up a great point.
I know.
I just wanted to wish Wiley a happy birthday, because I know your birthday's coming up here in a week or two. So.
Yeah. Yep, and then we'll be the same age and there'll be no more picking on you about that.
There you go. All right, let's see what other parts of the cabin he wants to share with us. So, and that next point that I wanted to bring up is this is going to be your area for your bedroom.
This is going to be my bedroom, my work area, and dressing area. And all this stuff has got to be custom built. Everything that you're going to see come in here is going to be pretty much built in my shop. So I'll be doing the desk, I'll be doing the kitchen table, I'll be doing, we'll show you the cabinets that are going in here that I built well beyond the use of, or well beyond the point of actually putting them in. But they're all up in the storage shed right now.
What amazes me when I watched you make the cabinets, the craftsmanship that went into it, and even the rest of this cabin, you guys, everything that's here, you for the most part have done this by yourself. You've had some help.
I've had help with the heavy lifting, the walls and such, and then it's nice when somebody comes over and at least keeps you company, and
Just incredible. That blows my mind.
Kitchen here will end up just being a galley style on one side, but on that wall, there'll be a gas refrigerator, and then I'll build another cabinet to set on there. But obviously, because I don't know sizes of a lot of that stuff, I'll have to wait on. And then there'll be an island here, and I'll probably put a cooktop.
Now, I know there's going to be trolls that are going to come out and say this, especially since I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
You did counsel with a plumber before you put plumbing on an outside wall, right?
Yeah. We got a full 6 inches of wall.
Okay, so it's what R rating do you think you
Yeah,
have?
R24, and I kept the lines within an inch of the interior wall.
So we did talk about this.
Yeah, and I was scared. I didn't want to do it that way, but because originally the kitchen was supposed to be on that wall and the plumbing wall was supposed to be in the center.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting there going, this doesn't make sense. The kitchen's got to be in the open air with the...
Now, we could have went through the floorboards up inside the cabinet,
But we're running into the same issue.
but then we run into the exact same issue. So you guys that are thinking that you're going to troll us on this, there's been a ton of thought that already went into this.
Yeah, it's not something I wanted to do, but there's rigid foam behind them.
Yeah.
So it's minimum R24 behind it.
Okay.
And again, they're within an inch.
Now, I got to ask you, because you were talking about putting cabinets and stuff, you know, our refrigerator on this wall. There is a doorway back here.
But this will be the bathroom. All there'll be is a toilet, whether it be a incinerating toilet or if I ever, win the lottery or something.
Yeah.
I got to play it first. Then I can get a septic out or something. And then there's going to be just a walk-in shower and a lavatory, for a sink.
Perfect. You hit the basics, and that's all that it's about.
Unfortunately, we're only looking at 24-inch pocket doors, but that just makes sure that I have to keep on my dieting.
Don't bring that up. That's a sore subject with me.
And then the room beyond it, which is accessible from the living room, that's going to be the pantry, and also where, if I cannot afford the heated batteries, is going to be where the solar system sits.
Excellent.
If I can afford the batteries at the time with the heaters in, then I'm going to make a small room in the storage shed, and we'll go from there.
Okay, Wiley, if you don't mind, I don't know if this is going to be in your comfort zone or not, but I kind of like to show people what you got going on inside your storage shed here. For those of you guys who haven't followed Wiley before, this shed has a ton of history. It looks brand new, but
well, some of it is.
Some of it is.
And some of it's not. It was an old shed behind the house. And if you take a look around, there was just an old T111 building. And you see the old T1 still here. And it looked kind of funky because I raised the center portion up for dry storage. Put a floor system in it, and then put the walls from the original cabin back on it. And then we have an open wood shed, and then just an open out of the majority of the weather shed here. Not going to be any doors on them. This is more for like the four-wheeler at the time, snow blower, that type of stuff. Right now it's housing all the glass for the future greenhouse that I'm going to put in.
Okay.
But the inside here, again, it's just the old side walls of the shed.
You guys, this is where the good stuff is hidden. I think I know what's in here. There we go, guys. Power station. All right. Yeah, and this is your kitchen cabinetry?
Yeah, this is some of the cabinetry here. I don't have the countertop in here yet, but yeah, these will be the base units and the uppers that sit on the galley side. Again, yet to make the...
And everything here you've made from scratch.
Right, correct.
Incredible.
Yeah, these were all out of elder that I had for years. I've been catering around because I had a cabinet shop at one time 100 years ago, and of course 2008 pretty much took care of everything. And so I've been lugging that stuff around, and I decided, well, I'm going to burn that up. But even the casing, it was just leftover pieces of plywood and stuff. So, I got a total of, I think about $150 into them.
Wow.
That was mostly for hardware.
These are absolutely gorgeous. And you know what my wife would say? She'd be on me to take up an apprenticeship with you because with the store-bought cabinets, I noticed right away ours are not as deep as yours, and you can actually fit stuff in your cabinets.
Well, they're standard sizes. They're 34.5 inches tall for, inch and a half of countertop for 36-inch.
Yep.
top and then 24-inch deep is what standard cabinet is. And that, so they're all standard. These ones aren't. These are 18 inches deep because these are the ones that sit on the side of the wood stove.
Yep.
And I always wanted to make sure I had plenty of clearance between a flammable subject and
That's a good
my wood
idea.
stove. So I recessed these 6 inches back further. I'll have
Okay.
plenty of room in between. There'll be almost 3 feet of distance from the stove.
Very sweet. Thank you for showing us this.
Yeah.
All right, Wiley. And a part that's just as important as the interior is the exterior. Wiley, I mean, the meticulous woodwork around those cans and everything, I would be so tempted just to finish that off in something cheap, but you didn't. You went ahead and you put all sorts of craftsmanship into it.
It's 3/4 inch beadboard.
Is that what that is?
Yep, 1x4 beadboard.
Sweet. These big timbers in the front holding your porch up, that had to be a little fortune in itself.
Oh yeah, all that, the green treat plywood on the deck. I'll probably do a quarry tile on top of that, just because I like the idea of the ease of cleaning.
Yeah. Your siding. What was your inspiration with the siding? Why did you choose?
I love the rustic effect of beadboard. I love the cracking of the wood. I love the depth, the warmth that it protrudes.
Okay.
Or
I'm kind of walking over to this side, not that I'm ignoring you,
nope.
but I noticed one thing that I love, and I don't know if this is what you were willing to capture. I noticed that this is starting to gray. And for me, I think there's nothing more beautiful than that. Is that by design, or are you gonna pressure wash that, bring the wood grain back out and seal it with something, or what are your thoughts? What are you gonna do with
Well, I
your
was hoping
siding?
the whole building grade like this, because I wanted that effect and before I sealed it up.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it's the east side of the building that is graying and nothing else.
You know, I think with time though, as nature works on it and the sun works on it, it'll all come to.
You know, the siding is on the house, it's 1x10 with 1x2 battens. And it's red pine, so I will have to do something with it within the next year or so.
Okay.
Because I really don't want it to start rotting away by any means. Not after you get this type of work and time involved in it. So whether it grays up naturally or I have to add a gray tint to a clear stain,
Yeah.
but I will have to preserve it soon, probably within the next year or so.
I'm glad to hear that's how you're going to do it. I think great minds think alike.
Yeah, or empty ones.
Yeah.
You know, things are looking a little peaked now because we had frost twice this week.
I heard.
Yeah, and so things are starting to die off a little bit. I still got a lot of produce in there, a lot of tomatoes, a lot of peppers.
No, should we go in there?
Yeah.
All right.
This went up this year.
You guys, look at all these tomatoes. My wife would be in heaven right now. We our tomatoes did not fare good this year.
Well, these are all Romas here, so they're a sauce tomato. And the remainder of these are just different types of slicers that I was trying out. All the beans on that side.
This is all your beans?
Yeah, on that little bunch of them, I ended up with 37 pints of green beans and wax beans. You know, I started all this stuff on the back row. You know, obviously it looks pretty dead now, but everything was started in the house and then brought out here and planted. But while I was trying to acclimate them, I ended up running to a job site while they were out on the porch, and they sat out in the sun the first day out for over 8 hours. And when I got back, everything was just laid over dead looking. And I thought I lost a whole bunch, so I planted them on the back here, thinking, nah, they'll never survive. Well, let me tell you, we ended up with 4 meals of corn. The tomatoes are doing all right. They've gotten so tall before I could even do anything with them that they just fell over. All the small tomatoes, they produce so much, I'm sick of tomatoes. So then I pulled all the banana pepper plants out because they pretty much produced the max, and ended up with 19 half pints of pickled pepper plants. or pickled peppers.
Wait, can you say that 3 times fast?
Yeah, I'm not saying that anymore. I might say something that I'm regretting. But I still got a ton of green bells. And then the reds are finally starting to turn a little bit. And then over here, there's still a ton of jalapenos, and they're turning red. So they ought to be quite flavorful. And then over there, there's some what they call crushed red, but I think there's, I don't know what the brand they are, the type that you sprinkle on pizza.
Yeah.
Mildly, because they're hot.
And everybody knows a guy of your age shouldn't really be eating a lot of hot peppers or anything.
Oh yeah, I can handle it. I can handle it, but yeah, another thing.
A watermelon.
How about 2 more?
Oh my.
You know, it's mid-September and we're getting the bucket plants to finally produce. So it's just been a very, very weird year. There's another watermelon. All right, folks, and that brings us back into his back 40 here, where I noticed behind us we have several different trees. This is his apple orchard, and where you have your plum trees and stuff. What can you tell us about this? Well, we planted these this spring, and I'm kind of surprised that they survived, to be honest, with the drought. Because we were trying to water them non-stop with 5-gallon buckets, but you just don't get enough water on them. But lately, no, we've been getting plenty of water, and they still got green leaves on them, so I'm hoping like heck they make it through the winter and survive. But
you know, as long as you're seeing those green leaves on, I think you're just gonna be fine.
yeah, the next question is, you know, can I keep the deer off of them?
Yeah, that's always a pain in the butt. And I noticed this spring you even had a bear.
Yeah,
in
I had
here,
a bear
so
actually tear apart the porch a little bit. The some of the ceiling boards from where one of the bird feeders were attached, they ripped.
Now in the North Woods, I've watched a couple different YouTubers now. Of course, everybody knows we're friends with Jay and Jen and all those guys. And for me, I don't know a lot about acclimating soil and things like that. And I notice when each of you guys have gone with planting your trees, there's always a little bit of kill off.
Yeah.
So what did you have to do to your soil to make it friendly for these apple trees?
Well, the pH on this hillside here is sitting at about 7, and apple trees like it slightly acidic, so 6.7 range. So what I did was added some peat moss to the holes, and then I sprinkled some fruit tree fertilizer on it, and then also some sulfate to bring the pH down a little bit. And right now they're sitting at about 6.6, 6.8. And with luck, everything will make it through the winter.
Well, thank you so much for letting me come up here and bother you. You know, I've been working on this bathhouse, and I just got creator's block. It was, you know, what to do for trim. And, you know, I needed a break, something to get away and just kind of get those creative juices flowing again. And I'm not going to bullshit you either. I'm a plumber, so a lot of that stuff I don't know how to do. So to come up here and to be able to ask you for your advice is just greatly appreciated. So there's a lot I'll be talking to you about off camera. But, you know, this is what, when I developed my channel, one of the main purposes, I'm not a real social person. You guys may or may not believe this, but off camera, I could be happy just being by myself in the woods, you know, for weeks on end. But my channel, I figured if it could help break me out of that shell, I wanted to develop a community of people that have like interests. And I'll tell you, people like yourself that are into the outdoors and being self-reliant, self-sufficient are really fun people to meet. And I'm grateful for our friendship, because I always joke around and I introduce Wiley to people as my little brother or brother from another mother. But realistically, there's a sense of community, and it goes much further than that. It's almost a sense of family, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come up here and spend this weekend with you.
I appreciate you coming up, and because I can pick your brain at the same time for some of the plumbing issues.
One hand washes the other.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, folks, I think we're going to kind of end it here. We've got a lot of catching up we want to do, and like you said, I would
We're going
try
to
and
solve the world problem.
yes. And I wouldn't mind crawling around under your cabin, and we see what we can do for some of the plumbing issues that you have here.
Yeah, we can make a list if nothing else, and I can make sure I have all the parts.
Sounds great to me.
Okay.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on this rustic cabin tour. And Wiley, appreciate you reaching out to me and opening up your facility here for me to come through and tour. You guys, I'm going to leave a link to his channel in my video description. You know, if you don't mind, if you love cabins and love the outdoors, you know, I'd invite you to go ahead and check out his content. It's just another avenue for you to be able to receive some new knowledge and kind of get away from my cabin a little bit and see what some of the other cabins look like.
Yeah,
So,
there's a ton of them out there.
there is.
Yeah. And
There's only a few of us good ones, but there's a ton of them out there.
yeah. We won't go there.
All right, you guys. We'll catch you next week on Carl's Off the Grid.
Take care. That worked. You do that so eloquently.
What's that?
I have a hard time.